Hello, I am roaringbug and welcome to my Sims 4 speed build. So if you like my video, please like, subscribe, or leave me a comment. And if you'd like to reach me, you can at my various social media listed in the video description. And if you want this build, you can download it off the gallery. It's at roaringbug and it's all one word. So, talking about this build. So this build is an autumn house. I built it before it started getting cold. This is one of my backlog videos that I did. I got sick of doing just base game houses, so this house actually uses quite a number of packs. So I'm sorry for people who don't own a lot of packs. This house basically uses probably all the packs that I own. I don't own all of them, but I do own quite a few. So this build may not be for everyone. I'm always kind of concerned about people who download houses off the gallery because the filter is awful. I don't know if anyone's ever tried, but if you don't own all the packs and you try to filter just for the packs that you own in the gallery, it doesn't matter. The gallery will just show you all of the builds regardless of pack restrictions, even if you only select the packs that you do own. So since I've noticed that, that's basically what started me making a series of just base game Victorian houses, because I realized it was really hard to find a decent build made with just the base game. So it prompted me to make my series of just base game only Victorian houses. Also, personally, I just really like Victorian houses. I think they look really, really beautiful, and I like the complexity of their design. I think they look really cool. But this house is a departure of Victorian houses. This is, I guess, kind of like a cottagey suburban house. I'm not really sure on the design. I just called it European house because that was the description on the Pinterest picture. It said it was a house in Europe, so that's why I ended up calling it European house. But I don't think this design is strictly European. I think you could probably find a very similar looking house somewhere in the States or around the world. I think it kind of has like a cottagey feel because it has this stone work in the front that makes the house look very unique. And what you're seeing right now is I'm using some debug planter things. So these like lawn things I'm trying to shuffle around, they're from the debug catalog, and I'm trying to make this front of the house look less boring. And I don't want to do the same thing all the time. So I'm trying to make this like garden stuff look natural, and I'm just filling it with plants. So it looks like a planter. This debug stuff, they're just like window dressing that you probably see like in a park or on the side of the road. I think you see them a lot in Oasis Springs in the base game desert world. So I decided to use these in order to kind of make like an organic looking landscaping space. And I filled it with all of these like yellowy and lavender colored plants, which I think kind of gives it that autumn feel. And I'm ever so slightly scooching this planter over just so I can have sweet symmetry in the front. I don't know why. I mean, this house is completely asymmetrical, and I'm like tucking the edges of these little planters under the house because I'm going to raise the house on a platform, so they're not going to interfere with the interior build. So they're not going to like poke in like into like a living room or anything. because it's going to be raised a couple of steps up. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with this backyard, because since I make my house mainly, like, my houses are just based on front pictures, and I don't really have the luxury of having pictures of all four corners of this house, all four sides. I kind of just do what I think would look nice and just kind of make up stuff as I go. And I'm rotating these plants so they don't look too symmetrical, because then it doesn't look as organic. And I use these little yellow flowers that came from it was like the toddler pack, no, the infant pack. It was I think it was Growing Together. So these are like little yellow flowers that came with Growing Together, and that is a horsepack fence, which surprisingly looks the closest to a debug fence, but I had no patience to put together a debug fence. And I wanted to do some kind of like planter space in the backyard too, but I didn't want it to make it look symmetrical, so I kind of did these two separate little planters in the back, just so that it would look like there's something going on back here. I mean, it really depends on your gameplay, what you want in your backyard. Since I also play as well as build, I've done ridiculous things like put a rocket ship in my backyard of my Sims house. So, you know, it could be as extravagant as a rocket ship, or it can be as benign as a tree house. I mean, it really depends on your gameplay style. And I wanted to put some trees back there. I usually just do the one tree in the backyard thing, but I decided to put a lot more trees in the back to give it a more rustic feel. And I used these shutters from the horse pack because I thought that would look cute. And I put a chimney here. I thought I would just stick it on the build, but I think it looks better when it's external on the side of the building. And, you know, my houses, sometimes they're not that realistic, but one thing that I will not compromise on a build is that I want the chimney to line up with the fireplace. It would just like logically annoy me if I saw a house, but the chimney is like on the other side of another wall in the build. So that's like one little thing that I will not compromise with. Oh, and you're seeing now, this is when I raised the house by 3 steps. And I moved this low-lying fence to make like a planter space over, just so that it would, I don't know, it would look more manicured. So now I'm finally in the interior of the house, and this house isn't too big. I think it ends up being like, it's like 2 bedrooms and maybe like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. If you wanted to, you can turn the space over the garage into a bedroom. That's actually not too hard to do. You would just make a hallway leading up to that space in the garage. But I didn't want to go through all the trouble of doing that. I don't know, I guess I could have just turned it into like another bedroom. Very small bedroom. I mean, I've made bathrooms about that size, but you know, you can turn that into another space if you wanted to. And since I wasn't holding back, I used all the pretty things that I liked. So that shower tub combo is from Growing Together, and it's like the prettiest looking tub bath combo in the game so far. And you know, I just wanted like all the nice things. So I'm using like a fridge from Cottage Living. I'm using like the farmhouse sink from that pack. I'm using a Snowy Escape stove. I'm using base game cupboards because I can't find anything that's white that looks normal. And these like table and chairs. I think that's from the horse pack. I like it. It has like a rustic look to it. Doesn't work for all builds, but it works for this like cottagey kind of look to this house. And the theme color is yellow. It helps if you have a build that has like a running theme color in it, because it'll help you try and figure out what matches and what doesn't match. So I used a lot of like browns and whites and yellows, but yellow being the primary color in this house. So I just use colors that were complementary to that. And I kind of, oh yeah, I turned that little, what is that from? That's from Tiny Living. I turned that like cabinet thing into a bread box because I kind of sunk it into a cabinet. And I guess this little front area is like a little like foyer thing. And I put this stair in this corner here and I turned it into a semi-open stair. So it has like, I don't know, just something to it. It's kind of boring if it's just a stair and it doesn't have like an opening. And this piano is also from Growing Together. And the little cat planty thing, that is from Cats and Dogs. And I'm just adding some paintings from the horseback. And now I'm just adding some more wall decoration. It's kind of hard to find stuff in the catalog because it's kind of scattered all over the place. So right now I'm just adding these curtains. I think they're from Seasons, and I'm just like sizing them down. So it's like a key command to just size stuff down. It's weird trying to explain it because when I'm in the middle of building, I just kind of muscle memory how to do it. But trying to slow down and think about what am I actually like clicking on the keyboard is something that I have to slow down and actually think about. So I think it's Alt and the hard bracket keys next to the P key on your keyboard in order to size things up and down. And to like move stuff up, I think it's Control 9 or Control 0. Or you can use mods, because there are like a whole bunch of mods to help people build. I do quite a few builds, but I don't have any building mods. And I wanted this backyard to look cool and interesting. And I don't know, that's why I did that kind of asymmetrical thing with the trees. And here I wanted to try and squeeze 2 bedrooms. So it's like a parent with a child. Like I said, arguably you could turn the space over the garage into another bedroom. I recently used this house as a random house for my own gameplay. I think I put it down just because I wanted some like NPC Sims to have a house, and I was like, oh yeah, I have a house, I can fit this lot space. So when I do my own gameplay, I usually just use my builds if I want like some non-related Sims to have a nice house. And then I get kind of nostalgic because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember building that. But most of the time I use custom content for my own builds, so I don't really share them because then I'd have to list all of my CC so that you can have the exact same build. It's not like I have a crazy amount of CC, but I hadn't written any of that down. Though if you like CC or you're new to CC, I recommend Felix, Andre, and Harry. So if you like Google them and do like Sims 4, you can find like a whole bunch of CC made by them. Or if you don't even want to like look for CC, you can just use the Curse Forge app. I've tried that app, but I still prefer the old method of downloading apps. I mean, CC. So, you know, to each his own. I'm just more comfortable doing it that way. And now I'm doing some terrain paint in order to make this garden space look more natural. It's actually a lot more interesting of a yard and front yard space that I've done, because usually they don't look as interesting as this. They're pretty like normal looking without like diagonal pathways and stuff. And now I'm just adding some outdoor lighting. And I'm testing the outdoor lighting. And now I'm adding the two things I usually forget: a trash can and a mailbox. So you won't find this missing in this build. So thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye.